Hello there. I'm so happy to do this today. We haven't been live in a long time, but for those of you who are joining me today, I'm so glad you're here to kick off our 3-day racing nutrition series. Thank you all for joining me. I see you popping on. Now, why I wanted to do this was because I have spring races on my mind. I am currently training for a very hilly half marathon here in Richmond, Virginia next month. So we have 1 month left. And I know many of you are getting ready for your spring races, whether you're running a half marathon, a marathon. Let me know in the comments if you have a spring race. I'd be curious to know what you're racing and what race you're doing. So today's our kickoff for our 3-day training series, and my goal of this is to help you understand the why behind what we recommend you to do to prepare for your race nutritionally in the spring. And I know a lot of times we can read things that might say carb load for half marathons, carb load for marathons, or you should be fueling during your race. But I want you to really have a deeper understanding into why we want you to do those things and what those things can do for your body and your performance. Because I don't know about you, but I need to understand the why. Like behind my training, I need to understand, well, why am I doing this run? How is it going to benefit me? How is it going to help me progress towards my goals? And then I'm more likely to do that workout and to do that workout correctly and follow through with that. And really the same goes for my nutrition. You guys are dropping your races in the chat, which is amazing. Some of you are running St. Patty's Day races, which is awesome. So today we're going to chat through carb loading. Tomorrow we're going to talk about fueling during running. And then on Wednesday, that's our last day of training, we're going to be talking about hydrating during your race, which you're going to learn is a lot more than just drinking water during your race. So I want to get right to it and dive into talk about carb loading. And carb loading for long distance races, think of like your half marathons, think of your marathons, your ultras, your longer triathlons, like half Ironman and Ironman. These are, and even like long cycling races. So I don't know if there's any cyclers here, but carb loading can even be beneficial for that. And it's one of the best ways that you can support your body and your performance on race day. Now, if anyone has ever played sports, back in high school, what did you usually do with your team the night before a game or an event, right? We would all get together, we would eat a big plate of pasta, we would stuff ourselves to the brim and call that carb loading, right? But there is so much more to carb loading than eating a big plate of pasta the night before a race. So I think that's like one mistake that runners make, is thinking that that is carb loading. We want to carb load actually for 2 to 3 whole days before a race. And so you're going to learn a little bit more about carb loading today. Carb loading can help you improve your race day performance, and along with having a really solid, strong race day fueling plan and hydration plan for during the race, carb loading and having a strong nutrition plan can help you not hit that wall. So if anyone has ever hit a wall or bonked during a race, you know how miserable of an experience that can be. So carb loading and a race day nutrition plan is going to help you avoid that so that you don't have a miserable race experience. And at the end of running a half or a marathon or whatever you're running, you won't say, that was awful, I'm never doing that again, right? We race because hopefully we do it for fun. Hopefully, we have some goals that we're going after and we want to accomplish. Now, why do we want to carb load, right? It's really important for you to know that. It all stems back to our glycogen stores. So I'm going to give you a very, 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 very simplified version of carbohydrates and glycogen stores. So again, this is a very simplified version. But I'm not going to give you like in-depth, the in-depth, long explanation to it. So basically, when we eat carbohydrates, our bodies use that for energy. It helps us run strong. Carbs is actually the source of fuel that our brains rely on to work. And fun fact, our brains use at least 130 grams of carbs a day. So carbs are very important for us as runners, and I'm sure if you follow me on here, you have heard me say that plenty of times. We don't need to be afraid of carbs. Carbs are our friends. They help us feel good. They help us perform well. So essentially, when we eat carbs, we use it for energy. But we also want to eat enough carbs to be able to store carbs as glycogen in our liver and in our muscles. So think of your liver glycogen as a great way to support your blood sugar. So from preventing your blood sugar from dropping too low. And we can generally store about 80 to 100 grams of carbs in our liver. Now, aside from the liver, we also store glycogen in our muscles throughout our body. And I think of that as like a big energy or a big pool of energy, right? That we can pull from when we run. And I like to compare that to a fuel tank in a car, right? What the heck do you do before a long road trip? You got to make sure you have enough gas in your car, right? So you stop at the gas station and you fill that tank up with enough gas so that you can get to that destination without running out of gas, right? No one likes to do that. I've never done that before, but I have friends who have, and it's just such a miserable experience. I generally don't let my gas tank below a quarter of a tank because then I freak out and have anxiety about that. But anyway, so the same goes for our bodies. Before we take it on a long run, long race, we want to make sure we have enough fuel in the tank so that we can run strong, we can get to our destination, and we can nail our racing goals and not hit that wall. So we want to do everything in our power to optimize our glycogen stores before a race. And carb loading is very race specific. So we do it for our long races that are over 90 minutes. There's not a whole lot of benefits to carb loading for races that are shorter than that. So save carb loading for your races that are over 90 minutes. That's why I said like your half marathons, ultras, longer triathlons, etc. kind of fall within that bucket. Now, when we are carb loading, we're going to be optimizing our glycogen stores, so we're filling up the tank. Think about it like that. However, when we fully optimize our glycogen stores, those stores typically get depleted when they're out there running for an hour and a half to 2 hours. So that's why, in addition to carb loading for your races, we also want to make sure we're taking in carbohydrates, taking in fuel, and we'll talk about this tomorrow, whether it's food or in the form of gels or sports products, etc., so that we don't hit the wall. Now, what are the best carbs to carb load with? And I recommend low fiber carbohydrates. So a lot of times, and I hate this, bothers me. It's like one of my pet peeves as a dietitian. I hate when I read something that is directed towards athletes and it refers to complex carbs, which are high fiber carbs, as good carbs. And for our simple carbs, which are our low fiber carbs, they refer to that as bad carbs. I hate that. I hate categorizing food as good and bad. I hate categorizing carbohydrates as good and bad because they both play a role in runner's nutrition. And carb loading is a perfect example of when I would love for you to focus on those simple, refined carbs instead of those complex carbs. So they really both have a place in your nutrition. So if you are currently in the mindset of good carbs, bad carbs, like I want you to throw that terminology out the window, catch yourself when you do that, and understand that both play a role in your nutrition. So when we carb load, we're eating a lot of carb. And it's okay to maintain our normal fiber intake because if we go from, let's say, 30 grams of carbs a day to 0 grams of carbs a day during a carb load, it's probably not going to feel great. It's probably not going to work great for your digestion. So you can maintain your regular fiber intake, but what you can do is all those extra carbs that you're eating, focus on the majority of your carbs as lower fiber carbs. A huge tip that I have for you when it comes to carb loading is you can feel bloated. You might feel bloated, you might feel heavy in your body, and that's okay. That's a normal result of carb loading, because if we think about it, we're putting lots of carbs in your system and we're storing lots of carbs as glycogen, which is what we want. So you're going to have extra glycogen stores. And for each gram of glycogen that your body is storing, you're going to store up to 3 grams of water with it. So you're holding on to tons of glycogen, you're holding on to tons of water. So it's a normal feeling. But I will tell you, I have been carb loading for races for years. And every single race, as soon as I line up to start that race, all of those heaviness feelings go away, and all the feelings that take over are all the great benefits and feelings of carb loading. So don't let that cause you not to carb load. You really want to get those benefits out of carb loading. You want to improve your performance, right? You want to shave some time off of your finish time, right? There's lots of runners who have different goals, but especially if you have time-based goals, carb loading can help you shave minutes off that. And as I said, it can help you not hit the wall, which can turn anyone's race experience into a miserable one. Another thing to think about is don't step on that scale, especially if you're really triggered by gaining weight and seeing that weight go up by a few pounds. Because again, if you are carb loading correctly, your body is going to be storing glycogen and it's going to be storing a lot of water with it. That's going to make you a little bit heavier. That can make the scale go up by a few pounds, and it's going to be okay. That's how I know athletes actually are carb loading correctly and following our plan, is if their weight goes up by a few pounds. So if that is going to just send you into a deep, dark spiral, don't weigh yourself, please. Have your, if it's a part of your routine, like your morning routine, you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you step on the scale, and then you wash your face and do whatever you got to do in the morning, take that out of your routine so that it's not going to affect if you carb load or not that day, or what you're going to eat that day. And know that it's not going to cause you to be extra slow on race day. So a lot of runners worry about that, but you don't have to worry about that. So I said really what I wanted to say about carb loading today. And again, I'm explaining to you the why behind why you want to carb load. So just a little recap. We want to carb load so that we can perform well on race day. We want to carb load so we cannot hit the wall on race day. And that's why having a carb load plan is important. And then tomorrow we'll talk about the importance of fueling during racing, so you'll understand the why behind that. And again, if feeling a bit bloated, if feeling heavy in your body is something that you're worried about, know that that's a result of carb loading, and it's going to be okay. So I'm here for you if you have any questions. Today was really covering the why behind carb loading, and tomorrow we're going to meet a little later in the day. We're meeting today at 12 Eastern Standard Time, so wherever you are in the world, that's the time here. Tomorrow we're going to meet at 2:30 and we're going to talk about fueling during racing. So I hope you can join me. If you have any questions, please drop them down into the comment box, which I see one question come in that I'm going to answer quick from James. He says, any recommendations for people with dietary restrictions like celiac disease? Yes. And you know what? I have a post that I created a while ago now, but I'm going to go back and find that post and I'll put that up in my stories today. But I want you to know that it is totally possible to carb load, but with gluten-free carbohydrates. So I'll put that post up today so you can look at that. So let me know what you think of that. Alrighty. So I will chat with you tomorrow about fueling during racing, and here for you if you need anything. Just send me a DM. Thanks for joining me.